Welcome back, National Healthcare Decisions Day. That is coming up on Sunday. It's a very good reminder of the importance to speak with our loved ones about end-of-life decisions before it is too late. And joining me today is Michelle Snyders, the Hospice and Palliative Care Program Manager for South Dakota Association of Healthcare Organizations. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So this obviously a conversation that not always, I guess, desired for a lot of people, but how important is it to have that kind of conversation?
It's a really important conversation because one never knows when you're going to be suddenly ill or suddenly injured, and not have the ability to communicate your wishes to your loved ones or your healthcare providers. So it's kind of like buying house insurance. You hope you never have to use it, but when you need it, you're really glad you've done it.
And for people that are looking to do that, what kind of resources are usually available to them to start getting that process going?
So when you're doing advanced care planning, there's really two steps. It's thinking about who would you want to be your healthcare decision maker if you weren't able to speak for yourself. Then asking that person to hold that responsibility. Sharing with them what your wishes would be if you were suddenly ill or seriously injured. What kind of care would you want and not want? And then you're going to fill out a document that's going to appoint that person as your legal health care decision maker and share that information with your family and with all of the healthcare professionals you might be involved with.
And perhaps you've seen this on both the great end of it. I guess there's no really great end of it, but the more ideal end of it, and maybe not the not so ideal end of it. How difficult or how messy can that be if this isn't all taken care of ahead of time?
It's really difficult for family members when they haven't had the opportunity to talk with their loved ones about what kind of health care they might want. So you might see a family member in the ICU who's struggling to decide if they continue doing really aggressive cares with their loved one because they're not sure what their loved one would want them to do. On the other hand, I've worked with family members who have said, you know, we've talked about this situation and I know exactly what they would want me to do. And so this decision, while it's difficult, I'm doing it because it's what they want and I want to respect their wishes.
And is this something that you see objectively working, that more people do take the initiative to do this, or do you still see instances, maybe more so than you'd like to, where this isn't necessarily discussed ahead of time?
Generally, it's not discussed ahead of time. There's only about 35% of Americans that have completed an advance directive, so that's a lot of people that have not. So they set aside this day, it's the day after tax day, because the only two things are certain in life are death and taxes, which is why they have National Healthcare Decision Day on April 16th every year. It really is a reminder that this is something that you're going to have to face, and so let's try to do it ahead of time and make your wishes known ahead of time.
Have that conversation as soon as you can and effectively as possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Michelle, thank you again for your time on this. We'll have one more check of the forecast coming up right after this.